Hello once again, YouTube. Last time we did this, I had someone on my show named Kira. You might remember her as the voice of Kai slash Selfcrab from your roommate the assassin, rather. And we had a lot of fun, we had a lot of questions, and we got to know her a little bit better. Today I'm going to be interviewing another person, but this time I'm going to be interviewing somebody who's a hot topic on my channel right now, someone who's actually has the tied record for most appearances in my series. She has appeared in all three of my multi-acted series, Your Roommate the Assassin, College and Monster Hunting, and now The Dragon Princess. The first time she appeared, she was Weather the Witch in College of Monster Hunting, and she was most famously the voice of BB in the final episode of Your Roommate the Assassin, and now she is reprising a sort of tsundere-esque character that she was very alike with Weather the Witch in Aeryn, the Dragon Princess of the titular name of the series. And so far, it's been a very a nice pleasure to work with her, but I thought today we would get to know her a little bit more and what is the actor like outside of acting. So I want everyone to give a warm welcome to Weather BB Aeryn. Thank you for joining me today.
Right.
So
Managed to set it all up.
obviously, Weather, BB, and Aeryn are not your real names. None of them are. So what is your
No.
real name?
My name's Abby. Yeah, that's what I was to say. That's my name.
Okay, well, for the purpose of this interview, Abby, I will only be calling you that, or maybe dude, or something
Sweet.
like that. But your characters are not you, and it's always important for people to remember that. So, I wanted to thank you very much for joining me today. We talked about setting this interview up a few months ago, and I was really excited about it because I feel like you have a lot of acting experience with me personally, not just, I mean, Kira did too, because she acted with me a lot more, but you've been in more series than Kira has, so not only do you know Your Roommate the Assassin, you know my other writing styles as well, you know how I form my lines, so I feel like if there's anybody that can give an insight on how I write or what it's like to voice act multiple projects, it would be you, because you voiced in all three of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like transitional against like over different projects, and obviously they each have different themes and stuff. So it's definitely interesting to do like multiple different ones, like learning how to kind of translate them over and stuff. So that's always fun.
Yeah, for sure. So, I had a few questions for you, and then we also had some viewer questions. People who were curious about your daily life, or maybe even your hobbies, or what it's like to voice act. So, let's go over some of the ones that I had for you, and then we're going to go over some viewer questions.
Yeah, sound
Um,
good to me.
the first one's very simple. How did you find my channel or my server?
Um, I want to say I was kind of because I've kind of been like in the ASMR type community for quite a while, to be fair.
Hmm.
Um, and I was kind of just scrolling, like when it appears in your like recommended videos on the side. And
Sure.
it was one of your Sundari ones, and it like appeared on the side, and I was like, yeah, totally, because kind of like my kind of thing for like videos like that. Sundari is like the thing that I've always been like drawn to in anime and things like that because I find it quite interesting kind of relationship. So I was like, yeah, fine, let's listen to that. And then that's the literally very first one. I think I came in like halfway through though. I think it was like episode 4 or something of the
Sure.
Sundari series. Yeah, and then I joined the Discord just after I caught up with Your Roommate the Assassin. Then I joined the Discord after that.
All right.
So
So yeah, you mentioned you've been in the ASMR community, maybe not as a creator, but as a prolific viewer. Do you remember the first experience you ever had with ASMR in your life?
kind of not necessarily the same versions as the ones that like the Sundari series, but my first, and I still listen to them to this day, to be fair, there's a YouTuber called Visual Sounds, and she does like kind of like cosplay type um, videos with ASMR. So she was kind of like the first one I got into, and then I kind of transitioned because I was like, oh, maybe I could just watch kind of anime ones instead. So people trying to like imitate voices of characters, and it kind of just snowballed into me just watching them all the time.
So you went from like pure, well, I wouldn't say pure, but like mostly in ASMR slash triggers and
Yeah.
sounds, and you went from that to more personal attention role plays.
Yeah, I feel like because with like the original kind of like trigger type videos, you're kind of just you're not necessarily like experiencing it as a person in the universe. You're just kind of listening into what's going on. Um, but then I kind of I'm very like dramatic as a person, so I quite like the idea of like listening to an audio roleplay and kind of being able to like create my own character in the um like universe. So I kind of think that's why I kind of fell more toward listening to like character like ASMRs where you could be like part of the series rather than just listening to like a couple bells. An ASMR trigger video.
Yeah, it was like that for me too. I touched on this last time, but I won't go as in detail as I did last time because I already said it. But I came across this channel. I don't remember the channel name, but I remember her name. Her name was Lita, and she did like these massage videos, like to show a visual on how to correctly give a certain massage, and she would talk you through it. And she just had such a soothing voice, and that was like the only form of ASMR I had when I was like 11 or 12, and I just kind of fell off the wagon for a bit. And then I rediscovered ASMR when I was like 14 or 15. And then maybe I was like 18, 19 at the time when I discovered like just audio role plays. Like Teacup or Cardlin or people like that. I mean, I don't really watch Cardlin stuff. You know, it's not like I don't like his. It's not that I don't like his stuff. It's just it doesn't like go directly
Resonate.
towards, yeah, like no disrespect to Cardlin, but I feel like a lot of his stuff is tailored toward women, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
My stuff is tailored toward women too, and I probably don't have as many male viewers, and that's that's understandable.
No, of course. I mean, it
but-
just depends on like your viewership and stuff. So
Exactly right. And you know what? Maybe sometimes I'll feel like being a girl and be like, "Hey, Cardlin, make me feel female." I don't care. Yeah. So, but yeah, like I discovered like the audio stuff, and I was like, oh, these are just like role plays. People just acting. That's
we just
cool.
sit. We get to sit and be involved.
Yeah, I get to be there, man. You know, that's interesting to me. That's really cool.
Definitely, you like feel the stakes of it all. So you're sitting there and you're actually like feeling what the other characters are feeling. It gives it a different like view.
So I had I had a question here, but I'm gonna ask a question first. This is a question I just thought of after you told me your answer, so I'm gonna just throw it in there.
Oh,
you mentioned
ad-libbing it.
Yeah, there you go. Kind of like how you do some of your lines, which I don't think I've ever had an ad-lib of yours that I didn't like. So I'm like, just do it. Just throw that in there. That has flavor.
Comic genius.
Just spice, salt, put it in there. You know, you just mentioned that you found these character role plays, these anime character role plays where people would try to imitate the voice and pretend to be the character. Was there ever a point when you were watching those where you're like, I could do that. I could voice act.
I don't know if necessarily I ever thought it myself, because I was like probably a bit like sad to say, but I never thought anyone would necessarily like my voice. Like, you know, when you hear your own voice and you're like, yeah, my voice is awful.
I did think that when I was younger. Yes.
It's like the worst thing, and like, you know that other people have told you that your voice isn't that bad, but like
For sure.
you personally, you're like, no one would want to listen to my voice. So it's not necessarily was anything that triggered from ASMR that I thought that I would be like a good kind of voice actor type thing. But I always thought the job itself was quite interesting. Like, even as a kid, I was like, yeah, that's kind of interesting. You get to like act, but not fully, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, like you get to act, but nobody has to see you.
Yeah, you haven't got like a complete audience watching you make funny faces at the microphone.
I had that in drama class where we had to do a monologue, and I legitimately... Have you ever seen the anime or heard of it called Toradora?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Well, without spoiling anything, just in case anybody is watching it right now or wants to watch it, there's a scene in there where one of the characters has a realization, and it's an incredibly emotional realization, and it literally did that. And I had a lot of people fucking just staring at me, and I realized as I was doing it, wow, this is so awkward without the sad music. This just doesn't work. And I'm just fucking screaming and wailing and crying in front of like 30 people, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
You're like, I swear it's more emotional with
My
the music.
My ex-girlfriend was in the crowd. It was bad. It was bad. But on the topic of drama and actually acting, I think you've told me before that you have actually been an actress before this, but not a voice actress. You used to do theater.
Yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
I haven't been in school for like 4 years, 5 years. God, I'm so old. Oh no. Just had that realization.
Yeah, I feel you.
Woo! But yeah, in secondary school, I did a lot of music. It was one of my favorite subjects, and then that kind of lent into joining the school musical every year. And obviously, like in the very beginning, it was very much like tiering. So it was like if you were a younger year, you tended just to be in the ensemble, which, you know, as I say, no small parts. The ensemble is like the most important part of the musical. Throw that in there for the crowd. But then when I got older, I got like offered like bigger parts in musicals and stuff. So that was kind of like my thing. Like every year I would just join the school musical and audition and be like, hey, I want a part in this thing. And the one that we did on my final year was Les Miserables. And I played Fantine, which is like the woman at the very beginning. She, wow, I was about to spoil it. Let's not say that. The mom at the very beginning. She's Cosette's mum, so that is who I played. And I got to sing I Dreamed a Dream, which is like one of the biggest songs in that musical, so that's fun.
That's good. So would that be like your most notable and like, I guess you could say famous part or even musical that you did?
Well, yeah, we did like various different musicals each year. Like we did Fame one year. Grease was another one. I love Grease. All right. It's such a great musical. Well, gosh, what else do we do? Joseph and His Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. That was one year. But I think Les Miserables is one of my favorite musicals, so I think that was probably my favorite purely because I got to be like one of my favorite characters. So I think that was probably why it was my favorite. That's why it stuck with me.
I think it was the year after I graduated. I had a friend who was just one grade below me, and they were a senior this year. And they invited me to a musical at the school that I graduated from called Bye Bye Birdie. And I don't like musicals, but I really enjoyed that. Maybe I do like musicals. I just, like, maybe you just don't get the same effect when you watch them on TV. Like, if you go in person and you see them, it's more of a spectacle than anything else. You know what I mean?
I think some people have different opinions, but, like, dependent upon the musical. Like, my dad doesn't like musicals if it's just songs. Because some musicals have like acting bits in between, but like for instance Les Miserables itself is just a musical. Like it's non-stop singing. Like even when you're like you could easily have just spoken that, they're gonna sing it anyway. So I think that's very dependent upon what type you like as well.
Did you ever star in any plays? No music implied.
I didn't personally, but it was only because I never actually took drama as a course. So the only, like, this might be, like, a bit weird for schools, but in our school, we only ever had, like, group performances in certain things. So you could only, like, audition for the school musical if you didn't have to be in music or in drama to audition. Whereas, like, they had plays, but you had to be in drama to actually, like, audition for those parts and stuff. So I never was in it, but I did watch quite a few because my friends all took drama. And I didn't.
So you never really took any classes for
No, I liked it, but it just didn't fit into my courses because you could only pick a certain amount. over the like STEM courses and years. And music was obviously always one that I wanted to pick every year. But then I'm also quite into like literature, so I chose English, and I really like sciences. So usually I picked like one or two of the sciences as well. So it just never, I never had a space for it, unfortunately. But I think I got to have fun with it whenever I was like performing in music class and stuff.
That is without sounding sarcastic. That is actually amazing to me because when I edit your lines together, you pause in the correct spots, you emphasize in the correct spots, and the way I write my lines, I don't tell you when to pause. I don't tell you when to emphasize certain words. You just kind of take it upon yourself to do it, and the way you have that intuition is amazing. That I legitimately thought you had taken acting classes. And I just
Really?
had somebody with a lot of experience in my midst. Apparently, you're just crazy talented. Cool.
I'm just a noob.
I don't know, man, because I've even told like people on the side that I think that you're, and without insulting anyone else, the best actor in my projects, and that's including me.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
I've been doing this for a couple years, and you have some experience in musicals, but you're not really experienced in voice acting, and you just come in and kill it. That's really amazing. So you should definitely be proud of yourself.
I guess I guess it just lends to the fact that I was a very dramatic child. Like I'd come up with random games with my cousins, and it would be like full-fledged like stories.
Oh yeah, I remember doing that when I was a kid. I remember the names of those games, and like they wouldn't even need names at all.
Yeah.
We would just name them. Just go out to my friend, hey bro, you want to play Black Ice? What? What is Black Ice?
Like, what is that? Whereas like now you're like, okay, now let me sit you down and tell you about it, right?
Yeah. We're
Still a whole
detectives
story.
with swords, all right? Get with the program. You never heard of the game? Come on, man.
Get on our level, all right?
Oh man, when I was a kid, I would have like, I'd have a real problem, even in acting. I would have a real problem with losing. Oh my god.
Same.
I really feel like I felt like I should win every single time, and my friends should win it all. And I felt like growing up, I'm like, wow, I was tough to hang out with. I tell you, that sucks.
Actually, I'm the biggest sore loser. Like even now, I'm just like, you're allowed to win, but only because I let you.
I'm kind of the opposite. I've actually I grew up with a lot of sore losers, and it got to a point where we were both sore losers that I felt like, okay, one of us has to change, and it's not going to be you.
We're never gonna win.
So in fact, a lot of the times, I would let my friends win almost every time we did anything competitive, and the reason was I just didn't want to hear them throw a fit. I just didn't want to hear it, so I would pretend to try. I would get like really close to winning. I would make it look competitive, and then I would just throw it at the end.
Yeah,
even if they were better than me, I didn't want to risk it. I didn't want to risk accidentally getting lucky and beating them because I didn't want to fucking put up with that.
That would have been me as a kid if we were friends as kids. I would have been like, right, I have to win.
My wife's not a sore loser at all. But the first time we played Mario Kart, I cannot tell you how bad I purposefully played. It was ridiculous. I could have overlapped her twice, but I purposefully ran into things. I did a lot of dumb shit to just purposely lose, but I made it look competitive so that she would like be really happy when she won. And I was planning on like never telling her. But she kept rubbing it in my face for weeks that she kicked my ass in Mario Kart. I'm like, I let you win. Okay, enough of this. No more.
Surprise!
I thought you were going to just take your win and be happy about it. But no, you had to rub it in. I let you win. She was so mad at me.
Oh, dear.
Another question for you. The very first character that you ever tried out for and got on my channel. By the way, you've never not gotten a role that you tried out for on my channel. Just you're 3-0, which is pretty good. The first character that you actually tried out for was Weather in College of Monster, and you know this was before you'd ever voice acted for me, so you and I did not have a relationship. In fact, I don't feel like you and I exchanged more than 2 words before you tried out for the role. So obviously I had no bias. Did you, like, when you tried out for it, after you heard your own lines, were you like, oh yeah, I'll get this role, no problem, I did great? Did you ever really think that, or were you just like, this is for fun, let's just try it?
Honest, because I don't know what that was. I auditioned. I auditioned for Weather, and I can't remember her mum's name now. What was her mum's name?
Esmeralda.
Esmeralda, that's the one. I auditioned for both at the same time, and I thought I did better as Esmeralda than I did as Weather.
Really?
And I don't know if that was just because maybe like I was kind of trying a voice with Esmeralda, whereas like Weather was just kind of my speaking voice, but just a bit more like
angry.
Yeah, just a bit angrier than me. But I don't know if maybe that was why I thought it. But when you messaged me saying I got the part, I remember telling you like, oh, which part? Because I auditioned for both, and I sent them both at the same time, so it wasn't like there was like a gap. And you were like, Weather, and I was like, huh. I remember thinking like, really? Well, thank you, but really? So yeah, I think I was kind of more surprised.
just the way you say that makes it sound like I already had somebody in mind for Esmeralda. I didn't. Like I went and had to ask somebody if they would be Esmeralda, because nobody could quite do it the way that I really wanted. So it had nothing to do with the fact that I already had somebody. It just had everything to do with, wow, she plays a really good tsundere.
She's really good at being mean.
I really appreciate good tsunderes. I love them. Tsundere is my favorite dere type, and its second place is not close. I just adore tsunderes. The idea that someone can be so sour and so mean and just be, like, over time, just develop a shy and even, like, sort of sweet personality towards a singular person.
You just gotta crack through that shell.
Yeah, it's... There's nothing more cute to me than a tsundere, especially in an anime, a tsundere who is given enough kindness that they want to give it back, and they're just blushing like crazy the whole time, and then just flustered and blubbering that it's not a big deal and don't worry about it. It's adorable. I love tsunderes so much, which is probably why I use them so much in my stuff, because the whole purpose of tsundere is just pure character development. It's like, nobody gets the dere right off the bat. Nobody. But
you gotta
work for it, which is a lot of fun to write Aeryn, because she is a tsundere, but she's a special kind of tsundere. Not that she hates everyone, she just thinks she's better than everyone, and she doesn't think anyone is worthy of her.
She knows she's better than everyone.
Yeah, she doesn't think. She knows. She's a dragon and a princess at the same time. What are you?
Yeah, what more could you want, right?
Yeah. So, after you played Weather, I was like, she plays a really solid tsundere. So when I was making this series, from the moment I started, like, developing the first, basics of who Aeryn was and how she acted, and I decided she's going to be tsundere, I instantly thought, Abby's going to play this role. Abby's going to play this role. If Abby doesn't play this role, I'm not making this. There's, like, I was dead set, like, there's nobody else I would rather have than Abby. And I'm sure that there's other people who can play a tsundere just fine and do really well. And yes, this is partial for favoritism, but I'm also a creator who knows exactly what I want. Because, for one, Aeryn's a dragon princess. She needs to think that she's better than everyone else. And the way you played Weather was very, like, tsundere and angry. That's what I wanted. Secondly, because she's a dragon, she's not going to have an American accent. She's just not. She's probably going to have a European one, and you're from Europe. So I was like, okay, that's 2. And I need somebody who is willing to be right in the open. Like somebody who's a main character. Somebody who can do a lot of lines and be totally okay with that. And you've mentioned to me multiple times that you do not care. You just like acting. That's 3.
I do.
So I was like, this is about the only person that I know around my immediate surroundings that could be playing Aeryn.
Checking all those boxes.
Yeah, there you go. I had a question, and you touched on this like once or twice, but I was always curious about this. You mentioned that your boyfriend helps you record. So what is his role in what you do? Like, how does he help you out do that?
Well, when I very first started, it was obviously with weather.
Sure.
And I had him, because I was at my sister's house when I recorded my first lines, funnily enough, because we were house sitting. And she obviously didn't have a similar setup to my setup's not like intense, but she didn't have anything kind of similar to what I had as a setup. So I had my microphone sat on a dining room chair. And I was sat on the floor, and my boyfriend was reading. Because I had lines obviously up on my laptop, which was recording my voice, and then I had my iPad with me as well. So he was the one that was kind of sat there on, especially on difficult lines, because some lines are easier than others, and I don't necessarily need in like a lead-in line for all of them. But ones that I was struggling to come up with responses for, he was like reading the line, and then I was like, okay, so he would read the line, and then I'd press record, and then I would come out with the response that we just practiced. So that's kind of like my main thing that he does for me. Not all the time, obviously, because we don't live together, but when he's here, it's very helpful to have a lead-in line.
How long have you been together?
We just actually, yesterday was 7 years, funnily enough.
Oh my goodness, wow! That's amazing! Yeah. Well, you've been together longer than me and my wife have. Hey, better start asking him, where the hell's my ring, man?
No, well,
you don't live together, but we have a thing in America where if you live together with somebody you aren't related to for 7 years, you're basically legally married. I
mean, yeah. Mm-hmm. So we got together actually in secondary school. We were actually singing partners in music. That was like, yeah, because he moved down from Scotland.
What musical it was?
We actually, because he moved down from Scotland, so he missed a lot of our modules that we had to do. So he had to do catch-up modules, and one of them was like a group song essentially. So he was only paired with me because I was the only girl that had a similar range to him, because I'm like an alto / mezzo soprano, which is like middle to kind of high.
Thank you for explaining that. I had no idea. I was like, yes.
I said it out loud, and I was like, so I was the one that kind of only sort of fit his range, because all the other girls were pretty much like sopranos, which is like the highest of the high, and he has quite a low voice. So my music teacher was like, Abby, you pair it with Oliver, and then you guys can practice a song. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And we did a song called Me and My Shadow, which is...
his name really Oliver?
It is Oliver, yes.
I'm not making fun of him, because I had an idea for a character in Dragon Princess.
Called Oliver.
And I mean like a legitimately main and important character coming up named Oliver. So that's funny. That's awesome. That's really cool. 7 years. How old are you guys?
I just turned 24. Wow. I say just. It was like a month ago now.
So, wow. So you guys have been together since like high school, basically, if you were in America. Wow. So you guys are high school sweethearts. That is so cute.
Yeah.
No, like, that's really cool. That's really cool that you guys met through like a mutual thing.
Yeah.
Me and my wife met through World of Warcraft. So hey, you can meet your loves anywhere, man.
You can meet them anywhere.
When you aren't looking for them.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
That's really cool. So basically, you have him read a line, and then you respond to the line, and you feel in a way that you feel like suits the line.
Yeah, I mean, I find it easier to record lines itself when I know what it's going to sound like. So even if I'm alone, I won't. So like, I'll read the script and say like, for Aeryn, say like Xander says something, and then it will be like, da, 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 and I'll say the word out, like the line out loud, and then I'll be like, okay, now this is how I personally would respond to that line. So I find it easier to kind of make it sound like a conversation if there's like a line before the one I speak. And maybe that's why, as you said earlier, like my like acting kind of sound like I know where to put pauses and stuff.
Sure.
It's probably because I do the lead-in lines, because it makes it easier for me to figure out like how the response should sound versus like if I was just reading the line on its own, then it perhaps doesn't sound that is as good. Like an example, in the most recent lines I sent you, I didn't actually read a lead-in line, and I didn't realize that Aeryn was supposed to be shouting at someone who wasn't in the room. So
yeah,
some of my
you
lines
did get
are
it
not.
eventually. You did. Like, I listened to like the last take. Before then, I was like, oh man, I don't really like asking people to redo lines, but I might have to. And
Yeah.
then the last one, you just shout it, and I'm like, yes, I have one. That's it. I did it.
That was
All right,
me.
You did it.
That was my bad. That's because I didn't
have
do
one.
the lead-in.
I can guarantee you I'm going to be using that one. Guarantee.
I felt so bad. It was only because literally I was reading it, and because I go down lines in groups sometimes if they're easier, and I was like, oh, this line's pretty simple. So I read it, and then I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then I listen, once I'm done, I listen to my whole set of lines, and I go down the script to make sure I've done every line. And then I was reading like the line before it, and it's like a scene set, like a kind of what's going on. And I was like, she's supposed to be shouting that. So then I was like, oh, best
here's
redo
what
that
will make
line.
you feel better. Phineas is not yelling in that scene at all. He is like pure talking. That's it. So we can just pretend Xander's just a light sleeper. Yeah,
Aeryn's just shouting because she feels like it. It's fine.
Yeah. He is in the other room, but yeah, it's it's all right. I don't like asking people to redo lines. I think I've never done it. I don't think I've ever had it. Like, somebody was legitimately missing a line in one of my fucking projects, and I just cut the line. And worked around it. I'm like, I'm not asking somebody to redo lines.
Like, it's fine. We don't need that.
The fact that I got their lines in the first place is a miracle. I'm not pushing my luck.
I mean, I say it a lot in all of my emails. I'm like, yeah, just let me know if you need to redo. But yeah, you've obviously never told me that I need to redo anything. And that's why, because you feel bad.
Every time you're like, yeah, ask me if I need to redo, and I'm like, no, I don't think I will.
I will not be doing that.
No, that we don't do that here. So your boyfriend like reads lines, and I mentioned this to you, but if he ever feels like this is really fun, let me know. I will find something for him to do. I will absolutely find something for him to do.
He likes if I read some of the scripts, if I need like assistance on how to like say a line sometimes.
Sure.
He enjoys things like that because it kind of lends to his creative ability. I don't know. He got his degree in English, so that's kind of his thing. He's like, yeah, you just say it like this, and I'm like, thanks.
just curious, and I'm just like being nosy here. What's his accent like? Because he moved to England, but he's from Scotland.
Yeah, he's there's a bit of disappointment. He doesn't sound Scottish. When he moved down, literally nobody believed he was Scottish, because he, like, I don't know if the viewers think I necessarily sound like, quote, posh for like an English person, I would
say a little bit, yeah. Like, I'm not an expert because I don't live there, but I'd say you sound a little posh for sure.
I think because obviously the Southern English accent tends to be a little more enunciated than perhaps some of the other like accents around the UK, because there's so many in the UK. But when he moved down from Scotland, he because he was a choir kid, he used to sing in choirs up in like the Edinburgh Cathedral and stuff. He's got quite like enunciating ways of speaking as well, so he's very like clear in his way of speaking. So he's probably like more posher than I am.
Wow. Okay. Well,
that's how I say it anyway.
I mean, like I said, man, if he's ever curious about, I kind of want to try this, I will absolutely be able to find something that he can do, because I would love more male actors. Oh my god, male actors in my channel are so hard to come by. I have to seek them out and hunt them down.
So this is for the viewers watching the video.
Yeah, because I'm like,
You're male.
I don't mind voicing multiple characters, but I feel like every side character I do is voiced by me, and it's like a little weird. But
Yeah, there comes the point where you run out of voices.
yeah,
You're like,
it's
okay.
like I don't mind being side characters, but what if I find another main character or a character that's going to be like recurring? I can't voice a recurring character and me, because what if I need this voice for another character down the line? And then it's just
Another
gonna sound
side
confusing.
character.
Yeah, what if two side characters meet up and they're both the same voice? It's just gonna be confusing. So I am in desperate need of male voice actors. This is a call for help. Please.
This is a PSA, please.
Please. Oh, wow. Oh, did I skip that question? Oh, I just did them in a weird order. Okay, I didn't skip that question. Okay, so you've played multiple actors, well, multiple characters, I should say, on my channel. And you played 3. Do you have a favorite?
Oh. I don't know if it's a bit harsh to say, but I really enjoyed the fact that I got to be Weather.
No.
Even though she was only for a short time, which obviously, like, as a first character, I was like, it was really interesting to start out as somebody who was kind of so forward. I don't know how to explain it, but she was like kind of very in the story, and she had her own things going on. Obviously, it wasn't something that was ever like elaborated, but she had her own stories and stuff, and it was really interesting to like kind of when you used to post like snippets that you still do, obviously, but like when you used to post snippets about like college and monster hunting, it was like seeing how her story was forming and like kind of how she was going to turn out as a character. So I think probably she was my favorite, but purely just because of like, I guess nostalgia maybe might be the right word to use, that she was like my first one. So I'm tight with Weather, right?
Yeah, I understand. And, you know, if you ever want to like say any snippets, you can. The series is never going to be continued, so there's really not any spoilers to be had. So if you have any examples of things that you were like really excited for, that is totally free game.
Everything.
Yeah, man. I had noticed at one point that like literally every character I had you play was that it was my character's love interest, and then I was like, oh god, this is weird. I should probably say something so she doesn't think that I'm like trying to imply it. And then you just laughed at me, and I'm like, oh, I had nothing to worry about. It's just like, okay, so but like I like having romance in my things, and usually the romance is between the male lead and the female lead, for the most part. Obviously, that's not the case with College and Monster Hunting, because I didn't have Weather to show up for a couple episodes, but usually I want it between the male and female lead, and you just happen to get the female lead multiple times. Like, even in White Mailing, which I haven't even posted yet, because I recorded it, and then I just realized, wow, I fucked this up so bad. I need to do this all over again. And I ended up just stopping the recording midway through, and I'm like, I just can't do it right now. I can't focus.
I feel that.
But you ended up being the female characters in that one. And once again, female lead, most likely the love interest. And I'm like, listen, I'm married. She has a boyfriend. I have to say something so she doesn't think I'm just some weird fucking creep. And you're like, it's acting. It's totally fine. And I'm like, I just don't want to offend anyone. I just don't want anyone to think I'm weird.
I remember you sending me that message, and it was like so sweet. I was like, oh, he's really concerned, but like it was never something that crossed my mind. But obviously, it was something that was like worrying you, and I was like, no, it's fine. I think that was when you learned what the word crack meant.
Yeah, because you're like, crack, and I'm like, ha ha ha, and I literally Googled immediately, what does crack mean in England? I don't get it.
What is crack?
What is crack? Please.
Not the drug.
Fucking FBI was looking at my Google search history like, we should probably do so. Oh, it says in the United Kingdom. All right. Damn it. I thought we had boys.
That's just my my random word. I pick like a slang word and I just say it for months on end, and then it's never heard of again. And that
oh my god, I do that too. I just pick a thing and I overuse it for like a month, and then you never see it again.
Like, no, can't say that anymore. I've overused that joke. But yeah, crack is still quite funny to me. I don't know why. Still going strong.
So obviously, I have a lot of characters in my stuff, a lot of characters that you don't play. But if you could play any other characters in my stuff, who would it be if there would be one? I mean, you can think about any of my projects.
Any character that you've created that I could play as. Ooh.
Even my characters, or even a male character in general, if you're like, just change them to female and let them keep the same personality, and it makes sense in the story.
To be fair, I think my answer's going to be obvious to me, but I feel like some people might be like, why would you choose that character? I have a big heart for Neela, alright?
Okay.
So, hear me out, right?
Sure, let's hear it.
As a character, Neela, with her, like, the decision that she made in the end about, obviously, when they were going to split up into 4 groups, I think you mentioned it on the Discord, I want to say, or maybe you did mention it in you might have mentioned it in one of the tapes as well, that the outcome of Neela's mission was that she just flat out ditched. I can't remember it.
I don't know if I said it in the video. I don't know. But Neela did ditch, but she didn't ditch completely. What she did was she got the information she needed, and she got the money she needed. She texted them the information, and then she was like, "You're welcome." Yeah, "You're welcome," and then she destroyed the phone.
Yeah, and I think some people, when they were like thinking about Neela, they think of her as very much like just the traitor character, and they're like, "Yeah, she's like the worst." Whereas like, I kind of resonated with her. Like, I understood her reasons. Out for herself, man. Like, all she had to go back to, like, yeah, they had a lesser sentence for completing their jobs, but they still were destined to go back to prison. And Neela was like the bottom of the barrel at prison. Like, she had nothing there for her. And I was like, you know what, Neela? I get you.
Yeah, I don't know why you would want to go back. It's like, it would be easier to just abandon your friends than to just subject yourself to that. So it was really her choosing herself. And
so I think she's my favorite. I'd play as Neela just because I feel like I get her as a character. I'm like, yeah, she's the one.
To be fair, Neela was never slated in the beginning to do that. The reason I did that was because Bo was the player of that character, and Bo and I had gone separate ways since then. So I had to figure out a way to write Neela out without her dying, because I didn't want Neela to die.
Yeah, you didn't want to kill her off.
But obviously I couldn't have somebody else take the role, because I don't really like replacing actors at all.
Yeah, it can be quite noticeable.
Yeah, I've done it once and it didn't even like happen. Like Mr. Black, because the person playing it was so busy that it's not their fault. They had a lot of shit going on at the time. But he couldn't play it anymore. So I ended up replacing Mr. Black, and the person I replaced it with actually plays Phineas the Evil. So he got to be a dramatic, over the top evil character in the end. So and really Phineas has a lot more personality and more shit going for him than Mr. Black did. So you know,
yeah, that's true.
But I don't like replacing actors, because even in voice acting, it's noticeable. Like, obviously in acting, it's a lot more noticeable because you can visually see that's not the other actor. But in voice acting, you can still notice it. Absolutely.
Definitely.
I felt like,
Sorry.
Well, since no, it's totally fine. But I was just gonna say that because this is your interview, this ain't my interview. I knew that I had to find a way to write Neela out, because what if I reprised the roles, and what if I brought everyone back? Then I need to explain why Neela's not there.
Yeah, you didn't necessarily want it to be something gory, because like as a character, I don't know if it necessarily is what you would think, but I feel like that wouldn't necessarily suit Neela's character, like a death of her character, because I felt like she was always kind of like one step ahead of everyone else.
She was too smart to get really caught.
Yeah.
And I felt like I should keep that till the end. She just disappears. She fucking moves to, I don't know, Sweden, and is just living it up and totally
She's having a good old time.
Yeah, just doing whatever she wants. I feel like that's a good end for her.
Yeah,
But
Me
yeah,
too.
I think that you playing Neela would have been a lot of fun for sure. I feel like the person playing her did a fantastic job as
Oh,
well.
totally.
So
I was
you'd have big
obsessed.
shoes. You'd have big shoes to fill. But for sure, I think that would be a lot of fun. I have one more question for now from me, and then I'm going to
Okay.
save my last question for the end, just like I did with Kira. So my question for
Okie
now is, you played 3 characters, obviously, Weather, Aeryn, BB. Is there
Mhm.
anything about those characters that you feel like you would change? Something, maybe not necessarily change like immediately from the beginning, but change down the line, like have a character development arc.
Oh gosh. I don't really, to be fair, because kind of all of the characters that I've played, like BB herself, didn't necessarily have like a kind of like a solidified, defined personality, because she was obviously like a listener insert character.
Sure.
Um, and I really liked the way that you were writing Weather, like her path. I think was what I would have done, whereas she slowly got kind of integrated into the team and kind of started to lose her frosty attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, don't really want to spoil anything with Aeryn, but I really like how she's going as well. So I think if I'm gonna pick something, I think it would be with BB, but only because as she was, which is kind of the nature of a listener insert, she was very wet lettuce.
Wet lettuce.
Wet lettuce. That's so kind of like she was very easy, very quick to forgive, and she was very, I guess, before she obviously had a voice, she was very not very like decision based. She kind of let people make the decisions for her, which obviously, as I say, is very kind of like the thing with listener inserts. You can't necessarily give very definitive um, answers or choices because obviously you are writing the script, so you need it to go a certain way. So having conflict or having like proper in-depth conversations and arguments and things is a little more difficult to create. But yeah, I think that's probably what I would have changed, is maybe if to begin with BB had a bit more of a say in things, but obviously, yeah, as I said, listeners not very easy. But I think
I
with
agree.
what I think with what you had, like obviously because you were creating a listener series, I think you did really well with creating a character that
Thank you.
you're welcome. I think create obviously because I've never created one before, so I don't claim to know how difficult it would be, but I feel like it would be quite difficult to like create a whole scenario in your head and then you have to kind of phrase your own words around an invisible response. And not everyone is obviously going to have the same response. So I thought,
I always did it to where what I thought that BB would have said.
yeah,
If I were BB, what would I say in the situation? And that's kind of how I did it for a while.
definitely. I think she's, yeah, I don't know, just rounding back. I just feel like she, for like someone as myself, she was quite passive, I think. Sometimes to like a degree that I thought was like, wow, you gave in really quickly.
I'm gonna go off on too many tangents here because I feel like they're very important to what you were saying. The decision to have BB voiced actually spawned from the argument scene in the finale, the second to last scene. That scene, if you take out all of BB's lines and just pretend that the viewer was saying those things, do you know how awkward it would be? Just me yelling and waiting like 5-10 seconds for a response, and then me yelling again. It would have just sounded weird. It would have just sounded like awkward. I felt like if I'm gonna have this flow well, I need to have somebody voice her, and that was the original like opening thought of, oh yeah, no, I need to have somebody voice BB. And then I think I added you in the server. I'm like, hey, are you busy?
Want to do some voice acting?
Yeah, I was like, well, it's been a while since I've asked her to do anything. Let's see if she's still down. And you were like, I'll fucking do that. Hell yeah. I'm like, oh,
I'm
sweet.
down. Yeah, I actually remember that conversation. So you put it on the main Discord and you were like, yeah, if I have BB voiced by anyone, I'd want it to be Abby. And I was like, wait, what? Because I was at work and I got it pinged on my phone and I was like, oh, that's funny. Ha ha ha, thinking it like it was a joke. And then literally like 4 hours later, you were like, hey, but for real though.
But actually, though, would you? Haha, just kidding. Unless.
Good times, man. Good memory.
So let's go on to some viewer. The other thing. You mentioned she didn't really have a personality, and I gotta agree because it's really hard to make a viewer have a personality because you have to account for like what everyone would have done. And even though I felt like I did a pretty decent job, there were a lot of people that disagreed with a lot of BB's actions, even though that they were the viewer, such as people who thought that she was way too quick to forgive. Yeah, so there were a lot of people like, I wouldn't forgive him. He sucks.
I mean, he doesn't suck.
I ship him with Danny. I ship her with Danny. I don't ship her with Jay.
I don't need you calling me out like this, Preston, okay?
Were you in a lot of pain when you had to denounce your relationship with Danny?
Yes, I was. I was really sad about it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, when you first were, like, talking about it on the Discord, I was like, right, I don't need this right now. But, like, when you... when you began to explain it, it made sense. Like, I get it. Like, BB and Danny were very much like a rebound relationship. She was really sad, and Danny was like the only one that was there, and I was like, I get it, okay? It doesn't make it any better. Very sad about it.
At least, the one that literally everyone shipped Weather with would have ended up with her, so it's all good.
I get that, at least.
Yeah, at least. And I'm not gonna say who ends up with anybody in Dragon Princess, because that's fucking spoilers. I'm still writing it. You guys gotta wait for that. It's gonna
Spoiler
take
alert.
a few years, but we'll get there.
Eventually.
So let's save the last question for the end, because I feel like it's quite important. And then let's move on to some viewer questions. Let's see what the audience has to say. We're gonna go from bottom to top here.
Okay.
Ghosty Girl says, what made you want to become a voice actor, and what character would you like to grow with?
What made me want to become one? I can't even remember the conversation I had with my parents once, or why it came up. But we were talking about careers when we were at a restaurant. It was called Table to Table. There's your context for you.
Okay, all right.
It was a little restaurant, kind of close to where I live, and we sat down and they were asking me kind of like what careers I would want to do in the future, like, because obviously I was of that age in school where you were kind of gearing your subjects that you choose to
astronaut,
like
pro wrestler, firefighter.
Could you imagine? Actually, I want to be an astronaut, guys. Sorry. An astronaut voice actor.
There you go. From space. Voice acting from space. You know how long it take to get me my fucking lines.
Like, sorry.
I'd be going to NASA. Hey, where's her lines? Ask her. You know how expensive that is to ask her? Ask her!
She's a week late! So I spoke to my parents about it, and I was like, you know what I think is really interesting? Because I was watching YouTube videos of voice actors in Funimation where they record themselves, like, dubbing over lines and stuff. And I was like, that's cool. That's what I want to do. And currently have not done that. Obviously, like, I'm not working for Funimation, but yet.
I just have this hope that someone from Funimation is gonna stumble upon our videos and be like, this is the series, and we're gonna use all these actors.
This is the one, guys.
This is the one. We have our next Naruto.
Could you imagine?
It's my absolute dream to get at least one of my series into like a light novel or manga at least. It's never gonna happen, but I can dream.
You can always dream, all right? Never put down on your dreams.
But yeah, okay, you're not picked up by Funimation yet, but it could happen.
Yeah. So that was my dream as a child, is like voice actor. And I already forgot what the second question is because I have a brain of a goldfish.
What character would you like to grow with?
I mean, I think just because she's current, I'm gonna have to go with my girl Aeryn.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously there's relevance to the other two. I really enjoy playing the other two, but there's just something about how sassy Aeryn is that we're like kindred spirits.
She's clueless of the ways of humans, so she's unintentionally funny, and she also thinks she's better than everyone. That's a perfect mix of a personality for somebody.
It's a great character to get to play, especially because...
that's the thing about Dragon Princess. I feel like Your Mate the Assassin, everyone was just like caricatures and like cliches. And we had like a little backstory to them to make them feel like people, but most of them were they were cliches and caricatures of certain like personality types. Whereas with the Dragon Princess, I feel like everyone has a distinct personality.
Yeah, you have like the characters themselves. Like you can have like overly dramatic, as you say, caricatures of like like specific types of people, which is kind of when you could say you could interchange them for other people and it would still remain the same. Whereas in, as you say, the Dragon Princess, it does feel like you could change the person out, but like the character itself out and just have a different, say, dragon in Aeryn's position, but then it would completely kind of change who the character is. So, yeah. Sorry, got a cough.
That's okay. Hey, Pink Panda asks, what mic do you use? Oh, and they add at the end, by the way, I love you.
Oh, I love you too. Thank you. I actually have the box because I was scared this question was going to come up because I actually
prepared.
Prepared. Because I didn't buy this microphone. My boyfriend bought it for me.
That is very sweet.
So literally everything I use is courtesy of him because I don't know anything about microphones.
You hear that, guys? All we have to thank of Abby's voice acting is her lovely tones and all the hard work of her very generous boyfriend. Okay, so you better thank him too.
Dream team.
Yeah, it's a package deal. When I cast you, I cast you both.
We come together. So I don't know necessarily how big of a brand this is because obviously I know nothing about microphones. Sure. But it's not like one of the ones that I do know. It's not like an expensive brand that I have heard of, but it's Fifine Technology. Fifine, Fifine Technology. It's a little cute. Like it kind of reminds me of a stage mic, like one of the ones that's very like tall.
Sure. Does it have like a really like high stand? Is it on a gigantic stand that you have to like stand to even talk to?
It's in a little kind of like desk stand, but I have it on my bookcase, so I do stand up when I record, but only because my microphone is on it high up.
I should start standing to record. That way I can do arm movements and not feel restricted. Because
standing up helps me be dramatic when I speak.
Without spoiling anything, eventually in this story, we're gonna get loud, and I mean loud. You guys are gonna have to prepare for that, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So
prepare some shouts.
You know, I'm gonna stop the questions just for a moment because you just reminded me of something you said earlier, and I'm very interested. Excuse me. Sorry about that. You said earlier you had a really wonky setup of how you would place your mic. I want to hear more about that because I also had an extremely wonky setup that I want to tell you about.
I mean, I have a dream setup that obviously me and my boyfriend have spoken about because he does podcasts with his friend. And I was like, my dream is to have one of those like recording booths and like the stand mics that you stand up and chat into. But currently, my microphone sits atop my bookcase. I stand in front of my microphone. I have my laptop perched precariously
Ooh.
atop the bookcase edge so I can record and stop easily without having to bend down because there's no other surfaces like anywhere near my bookcase.
Testing the limits.
Then I lean my iPad with my script up against the floating shelf that's behind the bookcase, and then I lean it so it doesn't fall over with a heavy ornament. So I just scroll through the lines as I'm recording and pray that nothing falls, because it will fall on my foot and I'll probably cry.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
yeah.
I have 2 setups I want to tell you about. The first one is a little funny because it was my recording setup, but the second one is just fucking hilarious. The first one, I had a coffee table, a really long one, and I also had a dining room chair, and I put the dining room chair on top of the coffee table because the coffee table was really low to the ground, and it was actually the coffee table was the top of the coffee table was actually lower than the seat of my couch. So when you wanted to put something down, you had to kind of lean forward a little bit. So I put the dining room table chair on top of the coffee table after I cleaned it off. I put the microphone through the back of the chair and on top of the chair, and then I would sit on the couch and lean really far forward. That is how I recorded Tsundere 5 and 6. I think that's how I recorded The Witcher, and I think like the first 2 or 3 episodes of Euromate the Assassin after the first one I did. So like episode 2 and 3 or something like that, maybe 4, I don't know. I was using that stupid back aching setup. It was really bad.
Man.
And then the second one was not for recording. This was just me trying to find a mic to talk to my friends when I was a kid. I have a desk where you can't see it obviously, but my desk has wheels. So that being in mind, my desk has like a little footrest at the bottom where things can go under my desk and get lost, which is bad for me. But I didn't have a headset when I was younger because I couldn't afford one and I didn't have a source of income. So I remembered that my parents bought me like I don't know if you remember Guitar Hero World Tour, kind of like Rock Band of Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Where you could play the drums, you could sing, you could play both guitars. They bought me the full band set. So I got a guitar, I got a drum set, and then I got a karaoke mic. And I was like super, super happy because like I love Guitar Hero. But I had the karaoke mic and it was USB. And it connects to your computer. And it's actually a pretty decent quality mic. It wasn't great, but it was pretty decent. And I'm like, okay, I can use this mic, but how am I gonna stand it up? I don't have a stand. I don't even have a Pringles can that I can put this thing in. And I was like, let's see if I can big brain this. Let's see if I can like MacGyver this. So I used my infinite wisdom, and I found my pool noodle. And I put the mic in the top of the pool noodle, and then I put the bottom of the pool noodle underneath my desk, and then I had this pool noodle between my legs and had the mic right under my face as I played games. It looked so stupid. I have a picture of that exact mic on my Facebook. If I can find it after this, I'm gonna send it to you. Better yet, I should find it and like put it on screen like right now. Like if you're watching this right now, look at the fucking screen. That was my mic.
See? MacGyvering it. That's what we
bad.
do.
It was so embarrassing, but that's what I did. I was like, at the time I was proud of it because I'm like, this is genius. But like after I got a legitimate mic after that, I'm like, oh my god, I can never.
Why did I do this?
I can never speak this to anybody. It was so funny.
See, kids, you can do anything with a bit of imagination.
That reminds me. Recently, my toilet wouldn't flush at my apartment, and I'm like, oh shit. And it was like Sunday, so I couldn't call like maintenance. But no. It would continuously flush. I literally couldn't stop it from flushing. That was what happened. So I opened the top of it, and one of the levers or whatever was down, and it wouldn't stay up. So I fucking took a coat hanger, and I just put it underneath it and hung it on both sides of the... Like, I hung it upside down, and then it stopped. I'm like, this is, like... I'm the smartest guy that's ever existed. Are you kidding? This is amazing. Mom, get the camera.
Big brain time.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, that was me. Katakana1 says, were you most nervous or excited or both about portraying BB as the character representing the listener?
I'm gonna love this answer.
Okay, let's hear it.
Definitely more nervous. I remember vaguely saying to you that I was nervous about recording like for BB. But then when I was texting my boyfriend when it was closer to the it was like the day of the premiere of the episode, I texted my boyfriend and I was like, they're all gonna hate me.
No, they adored you. From the moment they heard you, they were like, yes!
It was just like frantic fear in the back of my mind, and he was like, they're not gonna hate you. I was like, but what if they do? And he was like, but they're not. I was like, but they might. And
I'm just gonna say, it was a bold decision of us to go with a British BB. That was... I feel like we threw him a curveball there. Because
we did.
I promise you, most people thought BB was going to be American, but no.
Literally. I remember, because I like to torture myself, I was reading all of your community posts about the episode and like reading people's comments about what they were going to think. And one of them was like, it was something like, how do you think she's going to sound? Do you think she's going to have an accent? Do you think like what do you think is going to go on? And there was nobody. There was one person who said that she might be Canadian, if I remember, but there was nobody that said anything about being European or being British or specifically English in any way. And I was like, oh God, they're all gonna hate me. Like, this is awful. But I was like so nervous about it. And I remember thinking, like the premiere was happening and I was sat there and I was like, I knew what line came before mine. Because it was, I think it was Dan, and he was like, wakey, wakey, time for your daily gruel or something. It was something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the line. That is the line I need to listen for, and then I'm just going to turn it off.
Did you turn it off for real?
I didn't. But it was only because of a misclick that I didn't. Because I was so nervous that I was like, they're going to hate me. Because obviously they had, like, pretty much every female voice that came on, they were like, no, that's not her. And I was like, okay. So they know it's going to happen, and I'm just scared. So I still texting my boyfriend, like, I'm just going to turn it off. And he was like, you're being silly. And I was like, but I'm not. And, like, the line came, and the only reason I didn't was because I was so shocked about Dan's voice. And not, like, in a bad way. It was not that I was like, oh, my God. But it was because, like, I'd never heard his voice before that way. Because, obviously, he did the, I don't even really know what accent it was, but he did the guard with the funny accent.
What the fuck? Yes.
So I, like, knew that one, but then his actual speaking voice, and I was like, huh. Like, and it just shocked me to a point that I, like, misclicked the X button, and I was like, fuck, Jesus, oh God, no!
That was the only chance I had to hit X. Now I'm not allowed to try again.
It was because, like, the second I heard my voice, I was like, it's too late. It's too late. And, like, you know, some smarter people might have said, why didn't you just turn off live chat? And that would have been a great thought. If I had a brain at that point. But I'm glad I didn't, because I was pleasantly surprised to see that no one hated me. It was like my own...
People were saying how much they just loved your voice. And even some people were like, sorry, Ghost, I no longer simp for you. I only simp for BB. And I'm like, that's the reaction I was expecting, for sure.
I was very glad. But I did think the other day, like, not say the other day, I'm very weird with those times. It was probably like a week or so after the premiere.
Sure.
I don't know if you noticed this as well, but in one of the, like, I think it was one of the episodes, I don't quote me on which one it was, but it was the one whenever Jay and Kai go out to the liquor store to buy, like, alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And BB stays at home with Neela. You find out that she says she's from, you don't, as a character, you don't know what her accent is because you're not from the UK. And I was like, but I am though. And I knew what accent Neela was having when she was putting it on. And I was like, huh. And then I realized that if BB is British, she would have maybe known what accent Neela was speaking.
Maybe she was just putting on an American accent that entire series because she was undercover British.
She was trying to fit in.
Yeah, and only Jay knew that she was from England. There you go.
There you go. That's the story, guys. But I was, yeah, as I said,
I have a similar thing. I was listening to, well, I wasn't listening, but I remembered a line in one of the episodes. I think it was, I want to say it was episode 5 of season 3. It was the last one I did. And Neela found out that Jay was from South Africa. And she literally said the line, "You're from South Africa? Oh, hell yeah. I was getting tiring being the only foreigner in the group." And I was like, oh shit, I really didn't expect this to happen, so I like fucking didn't think anything of that line. So I'm like, alright, well.
Drastic turn of events.
England is now a province of the United States.
Can you imagine?
We've colonized you back. Gotcha.
That's
ours
right.
now. It's ours now. Yeah, but I had a similar thing where I was like, I really didn't have any, and people like, this is the example, like, this is what I mean by, I didn't foreshadow anything in my fucking series. Nothing. It just happened that way. Like, in the first episode, Ghost says, you never know. You might find the love of your life in a dumpster somewhere. And where did Danny find her, he said in episode 3? A dumpster passed out, and they ended up dating. That was not meant to happen. It just happened. I didn't even remember that line when I had them start dating. People are like, oh man, you had such good foreshadowing. No, I didn't. It just happened, man.
You were the best at accidental smoking guns.
For real, man. It just happened. It was pure accident. It was awesome. But yeah, I totally understand that you were like nervous because I had BB in like what, 15 episodes, something like that.
Yeah,
she
mean,
was silent every single time.
I understood as like somebody who was the listener that it did feel like you could be like, hey, this is my character and I've decided kind of how she perhaps may respond to a certain degree or act in a certain way. So I did understand people's reservations as to why they were like wanting, like, obviously to complete the story as a listener. And I think that's probably why I got so nervous, because I psyched myself up. I was like, everyone wants her to be a listener.
Yes.
So yeah, that was my fun story of that night.
No, that was really good. I really enjoyed that. Rachel Cowgill says, oh wow, okay, so I think this is the fucking this is the one I screen capped and sent to you guys, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I have no idea. But I'm just gonna read it, and I'm gonna answer it because I feel like it's directed towards me. Interest, but I also wanted to know who your best friend is played as one of the best knights. I mean, I know most people bring up the best friend, but why not? Alright, without sounding mean, I'm gonna say that this sounds like somebody just did one of those autocomplete phone sentence challenges and just posted it. It really does. Like, I think maybe they're asking who plays Xander's best friends, who's the best knight, and I'm Edith. And that is Lizzie Chan on my server. She also has her own channel called Lizzie Chan Stuffs, I think. I'm subscribed to her. I could just easily look, but she's really good at what she does. She's very talented, and yeah, go check her stuff out. All right. Broken Pieces says, what is your favorite part about being each character? And there's a few more questions after that, but we're going to start with that one for now. Favorite part of each character.
I guess we'll start at the beginning and go up. Mm-hmm. So for Weather, I just liked the fact that I could shout spells.
I never got to do the effect. I never got to have you do that. You know what? I'm going to do that for you. Whenever you cast a spell in Dragon Princess, I'm gonna put that voice effect on you. I promise.
Yes! I was so excited about the idea of, like, being this witch who had arguably an incredibly short temper. It was just a fun idea that I could just freaking zap people with lightning and just be like, right, I'm gonna go have some tea now. Like, I just enjoyed her, like, nonchalant way of, like, living.
I was gonna have her say the spell a lot. So throughout the series, you guys were just gonna hear Toriatsi Claire all the time.
She's like, right, I'm just done with all of you. I'm just gonna zap you real quick. Yeah. She was. I think that's kind of what I liked most about Weather. It's just she just didn't give a fuck. Then BB is, I think, a bit harder to say because of, like, most of her appearances were listener,
Yeah.
like, in controlled, I guess. But I think as a character, although I did say she is a bit of a wet lettuce, which I stand by, but I do enjoy how kind she was. She was very patient, and even when, like, in the final episode, even when she says, like, even, like, Kai knows, like, BB doesn't hate anybody, I think that is a really good trait, and I really did like that about her, despite how sometimes it might have annoyed me. It was very a noble trait to have, to be able to see past, like, the mist of your anger, to be like, hey, let's actually look at this logically and understand why this happened. So I think I liked that about BB. She was honorable with the traits she had. And Aeryn, obviously there's a lot more to come with Aeryn and her personality and growth and stuff, but I think currently I'd say that I say this to my boyfriend all the time, and it just makes me laugh, and I don't think I've ever sent any lines with it in, but I just said I love how every Aeryn line feels like you could just end it with her just saying bitch. It just makes me laugh every time. Like, I'm recording a line, and then it could be anything. It literally be anything, and then you could just end the line of her just being like, bitch.
We need to have her, like, test out catchphrases. Like, we should have, like, a thing where everyone just starts, like, having a catchphrase, and whenever that person says a catchphrase for the first time, everyone's a group's like, oh, yeah, that's a good catchphrase. I like that. He's like, yeah, you like that? Yeah,
You should keep that one.
You should keep that one. And Aeryn tries, and everyone's like, what? What
You can't do that.
What? And she just keeps trying different catchphrases until
just going for ones.
Just one day she just says fucking nothing, and they're like, that's perfect. Don't say anything.
You're more cool when you don't say things like that.
And she's like, did you just tell me to shut up? I'll light you on fire.
I think that's why she just makes me laugh, because I feel like she's either, like, silently judging you or, like, outwardly judging you.
Yes. Either way, you are being judged.
I feel like I'm recording her lines, and I feel like she's judging me, and I'm like, how is this possible?
You better be voicing me correctly. I'll kill you.
That's my favorite thing.
Do you still dress up for Halloween? If so, what are you being this year? And if not, what is your favorite costume you've ever put on? And you know what? Just answer both those.
Halloween is not a massive thing where I live.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more kind of geared toward, like, the kids versus, like, as you get older. So we don't tend to do a lot of Halloween-y bits anymore. But I do love Halloween, and I wish we had more. I said on one of my other Discord chats, I really wish we had a Spirit Halloween here, because they look so cool. I cannot explain how cool the pictures and the videos of Spirit Halloween look, and I'm just in love with it, and I'm like, please.
Another store has to be sacrificed in order for Spirit Halloween to spawn.
You can take any of them. Any of our British stores have it. I just want a Spirit Halloween, but it's never going to happen.
Just one.
It's never going to happen, unfortunately. But, yeah, so as I say, I don't really dress up for Halloween anymore, but I did as a kid. Every year I used to go trick-or-treating. And my favorite costume to this day was like a black cat onesie, but all of the like fluff and the like paw pads and stuff were all pink, like fluorescent pink. And it was my favorite. It was my favorite outfit because my mum like did my makeup, so she did like the cat whiskers and stuff, and it was great. But it was my favorite purely because my cat, who was a kitten at the time, we had him for like a couple months. He would chase me around the living room, chasing the tail of my cat costume.
Oh my god.
It's great memory, and I think that's probably why it was my favorite. And on the plus side, it kept me warm while I was outside because I am one of those people that's cold constantly. So I was very warm that night.
I think my favorite costume, it was the last one I ever wore. I was like 14 or something like that, so I was getting up there. I had a trash can. I had a foam trash can, like, and I even had like the trash can lid. So, but the bottom was completely open, and the arms, the armholes were wide enough, like super wide. And it was like the can like cut off at my neck, so it would like go inward, and it would cut off at my neck. Like it was almost like a turtleneck. And I had the can on, like the lid on top of my head. So what I could do is I could just crouch down, pull my fucking arms in, and just like sit and just pretend to be a trash can. So I did that all the whole night. I would ring the doorbell, put my bag down, fucking just sit down, put my arms in, and just pretend to be a trash can.
Someone answers the door.
My friend had a really eye-catching costume, so no one noticed the trash can right next to him. So every time he'd go trick-or-treat, and I would pop up, "What about me?"
Joe!
I
love it. I love creativity in a costume.
So, MM says, they got a few questions here. Not too many, but they do have a few. What is the character that you feel more close to you and acts like you do? Who is Abby? Which one is the most like Abby?
Despite how much I've slated her, I would say it's actually BB.
Yeah, I would say so too. You don't have horns or a tail, and you can't use lightning, so, you know.
But just like, from a like literal standpoint, obviously they don't look anything like me, and BB is the only human. But
yeah.
For personality wise, I'm not very like yeah, like if I have something to say, like I'll be very like skirting around the actual like topic. I'm not like just straight up being like
terrifies confrontation. You kidding me?
So I'm just like, please don't hurt me. Whereas like the other two would literally be like, you can try and hurt me, but it's not gonna end well.
Whereas, call an ambulance, but not for me.
Literally. Whereas I feel like BB is the closest to me. The only thing different is the fact that I don't forgive very well necessarily, or very quickly, I would say, in the same regard as BB does. But other than that, we're like the same person.
Yeah. I would say that you're probably closest to BB as well. Did you study for being a voice actor, or just born as a hobby and then it became something more serious?
I didn't study as a voice actor, as I said earlier. I was more of a stage performer. But that kind of translates in the way I record, and I have to kind of stop myself from doing it when I record, because I'm like moving around helps me like kind of accentuate my words and enunciate what I'm saying and
just
bits and pieces.
Headgear and attach the mic to the headgear and just have it in front of your face.
Because sometimes like I'll step away from the microphone without meaning to, because that's how I would like act out the action, and then I'll play it back and I'll be like, oh, damn it, I stepped away. You can hear me stepping away from the microphone. So it's like something I'm trying to stop. I'm trying to like just move my upper body rather than my feet.
That reminds me, your last line in episode, and it was the finale of Your Mate the Assassin, in one of the scenes. You ran away from the mic because you didn't have any pants on, and you ran into your fucking wardrobe. Like every time.
I did one take just in case you wanted to add an effect, because I wasn't sure if you wanted like a physical reaction or if you were just gonna like lower my voice as I started to get like manually lower my voice.
No,
So I
that
was
was
like,
perfect.
I'll do one take, but every other take I did, I ran backwards away from my microphone, because if I turned away, you couldn't hear me like at all. So I started to back away as I was talking, but I couldn't see my microphone. I couldn't see my wardrobe because I was staring at my microphone. So my wardrobe door was pre-opened, so I had something to step into, and then the slamming of the door is like my wardrobe slamming behind me. So I stepped into my wardrobe and shut myself in every time for that take. And
Awesome.
I think the take you used actually ended up being the one where I walked into the closed door of the wardrobe, because you can hear like a slam, and then I go, oh, and that's because I walked into the door.
I think that's even better. Like, imagining BB just walks into her closed door because she's so like flustered and like, oh shit, I'm not wearing pants. Ah. I just feel like that's even better.
It was like that awkward moment where I was like, I hit it and didn't want to stop the take because I was like, it's fine, we just keep rolling with it. And then I had to like fumble my way from this closed door I just walked into and find the one that was open and be like, right, and now we're just gonna climb into this wardrobe. Yeah, physical acting, it helps sometimes.
Voice acting's hard.
We walk into wardrobe doors, right?
You know how many times I've hurt myself for you?
Did you on my latest recording, did you hear that line where I punched my laptop?
You said something about that. You definitely, I definitely heard it. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I do remember.
I was so excited. I can't even remember what line it was, but it was one of those ones where she's like not shouting, but she's annoyed, but she's kind of just like, you know, gesturing wildly. And I gesture wildly when I talk anyway. And as I finished the line, I just finished it, and I went to wave my hands for like a big exit, and I punched my laptop.
Oh my god.
And I was like, ow, I just punched my laptop.
So, one of the lines you did, I noticed there was a mistake, and it was a mistake in the writing, not you. So I might have you just redo that one line. Maybe.
That's all right. You know me. I'll redo whatever.
I know you're more than willing, but I've never had anyone redo any lines, so I don't like asking. But I'll let you know what it is, because I don't want to spoil it. But
That's all right. Yeah. Just message and let me know. I'll do it. I've got this week off, so
awesome.
I'll do it.
All right. Last thing from MM. Last thing, you are amazing. Keep up your good work, and happy Halloween from Italy.
Thank you. Happy Halloween to you too. I hope you have a good time. Obviously, with the current climate, it's not that easy, but I do hope you have a very good time.
Okay, I'm going to try to say this person's name. We do have a couple more comments. We have 3 more comments, and then we're going to go back to my last question.
Okie dokie.
Satori Tendo has 3 questions. We're just going to go in order. One, if ghosts were real, would you date him? I feel like that would kind of conflict, for one, with her relationship with her boyfriend now, and 2, I don't think that she would want to date somebody who literally goes out and kills people.
Yeah, I mean, my boyfriend knows I'm obsessed with anime husbands, so
yes.
Story of my life. As a character, I think he Ghost fits into like the anime aesthetic that I tend to draw toward, but I don't know if I'd be happy that he would like go out and murder people.
At least he doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah, no, maybe like early on Ghost would be like a no, but like current Jay would be a yes.
There you go.
There you go.
that reminds me, I had something planned for like a season 4 of Your Mate the Assassin that never got made yet. It could happen eventually, but right now all my focus is in Dragon Princess, so don't look for it. But I had this thing where Jay is in like person mode. He's in boyfriend mode. Yeah, he's not Ghost, and somebody needs him to be Ghost, and he's like, dude, I'm so off my game. Don't ask me to do this. But,
I can't even shoot in a straight line anymore.
Yeah, like, I already lost an eye over this. I'm not trying to do this again. Yeah.
Just comes back, now he has no eyes, and BB's like, really?
Yeah. 2. This is the second question. Can you sing? Because they love your voice.
I can sing. I mean, I think I can sing. I got, obviously, as I said, I did music, and my main, like, instrument was my voice.
There you go.
So, yeah, I can. I enjoy singing very much. It's one of my favorite hobbies.
And
Yeah.
number 3. If you were Princess Aeryn, what would you do with that power?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I feel like beyond, like, the obvious of being able to, like, be a dragon, that would be kind of cool.
That would be pretty sick.
I kind of like the idea that as an all-knowing dragon, she could, like, or I guess I would share my knowledge to the people. Just because obviously the first encounter she has with Alexander is that he thinks in his head, hey, I could just chop this dragon's head off.
I like how you even call him Alexander outside of acting. When everyone else calls him Xander, you call him Alexander because that's the way Aeryn says his name. Because that's his full name.
I do, like, sometimes, I said this quite a while ago, I think, to my boyfriend. I was like, when I think of, like, the word, like, the name Xander, it doesn't, like, roll off the tongue as well for me. I don't know if that's just because I've only ever known, if someone's had the name Alexander, I've only ever known them call themselves Alex rather than Xander.
Yeah, I wanted to, like, change that up a little bit.
Yeah. So, I don't know, I think that's probably why I just, it's like I can't call him Alex, so I'll call him Alexander.
I'm gonna have somebody call him Alex and him be like, yeah. Hate
like,
that.
don't call me that.
Hate that. Alright, next comment is from Azami-chan. First of all, I want to say you are an amazing voice actor. I really liked your performances. You nailed them all. Really don't know what to say, but keep going. You are amazing.
Thank you. I don't really know what to say. I'm not very good at taking compliments.
And the second one is actually quite interesting because you've mentioned anime a few times. Second, I want to ask, what is your favorite anime?
Well, that is an easy question for me to answer.
Let's hear it.
It's been my favorite anime since, gosh, I don't even know when I first watched it. I was probably like year 8 maybe, so I was like 13. My favorite anime in the world is Death Note.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, okay, I say Death Note. We can cut it off at like season 1. Season 2 was trash, but you know, it's fine. I'll still watch it. But Death Note was probably one of the first gritty animes I ever watched, because beforehand I was very much like magical girl animes was my thing.
Sailor Moon, stuff like that.
Yeah, I was my very first anime I ever watched was an anime called Mew Mew Power. The Japanese was Tokyo Mew Mew, but obviously I watched it on a channel called Pop Girl.
Alright.
But so I obviously hadn't gelled into more like serious animes before that, and yeah, Death Note was my first jump into like a gritty real life kind of styled anime, and I just really have resonated with it ever since. And I'm actually watching it again with my boyfriend, watching Death Note, and I'm making him watch Fruits Basket with me because they reanimated it recently, and it was my favorite anime. So as a child,
I think the first anime I ever watched was I think a lot of boys will say Dragon Ball Z. I think I remember Dragon Ball Z being the first one I ever watched because it was just like everywhere. You could go anywhere when I was a kid, and Dragon Ball Z would be there.
I remember Dragon Ball Z on TV, but it obviously for me was like not one that ever like resonated with me personally. But I remember watching it and being like, this is interesting.
I think my favorite anime that I ever like got really, really into when I was younger would either be Toradora, because that was the anime that made me realize, wow, I really want a fucking girlfriend. Oh my god. It was my first rom-com anime, and I was just like obsessed with it. And then I realized, wow, I really love shoujo. Another one was Full Metal Panic, because I just resonated really well with the main character. I just thought he was so funny and interesting. And then my favorite anime that I ever watched, like when I was super young, was Yu Yu Hakusho. And I got really into that because the first like minute of the first episode just had me completely hooked. Because never in my life had I ever thought, wow, this character can die. And the main character is literally dead before the intro of the first episode.
Oh my god.
I was like, that's different. I want to watch. But yeah.
I mean, it's true. The main characters tend to be the ones that are like invincible, and you're like, it's fine. You're in a life or death situation, but you're not gonna die. It's okay.
And then he's like, let me just pull a pro gamer move on you.
Surprise! I'm actually dead now.
And we have one more viewer question here. Which of the characters did you feel that you had the most fun voicing?
Fun. I don't know, actually. I quite enjoy voicing Aeryn because she does kind of, I guess, the prospect of being able to voice her more makes it a bit more like enticing to choose Aeryn. But she has a lot of vocal range. She's not a character that stays kind of like neutral as a party in the things. Like, she will shout and she will scream, and sometimes she'll be really quiet or like really nervous. So she has a really wide range of emotions that she goes through. So I think that's what makes it more fun to voice her as a character, because you never really know what you're going to do. You read the script and you're like, here I am. I'm going to start yelling today.
Testing your acting chops.
Yeah, just throw in like a random curveball, like, okay, now you're going to pretend to be a cat. And I'm like, okay, here we go.
I think I discussed, and this is not something that I'm like super planning on doing, but I think I discussed it once where I thought, let's have everyone switch bodies. So each actor would be playing a different character. And I was like,
I remember that.
Which one would I like to play most? I would love to play Aeryn. I would love it if Aeryn got sucked into Xander's body. I would have to do the accent, obviously. I would have to do all that stuff. So whichever character you get, you're gonna have to put on an American accent, because all three of them have an American accent.
I am drawn toward Phineas because he's just so fun, but I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but I really love Edith. Edith is like, she resonates with me. She's like a character I really quite like. So
I feel like it would just be the funniest if Aeryn and Xander were to switch, and then Edith and Phineas were to switch.
God, could you imagine? That would be interesting. I definitely think more so on Edith and Phineas, they would maybe kill each other.
Stop touching those. Those aren't yours to touch. They are right now.
That would be how it works, and just like Alexander and Aeryn are just stood there like, well, I hate this, and I hate you.
Like, I hate being so short. Like, I hate being so dumb. How does that feel? All right, last question, and this is for me. And I feel like this is a very obvious answer, but I just wanted to ask it because it's going to start being a tradition. Can we expect you more on my channel in the future?
Imagine if I said no.
It's like, nope, I'm done.
This is my resignation, actually. Yes, you can expect me more, hopefully, as long as Preston keeps me on. Doesn't fire me.
Probably not going to happen, but if you get out,
you never know.
Man, if you put off your lines for like 3 months, I'll be like, all right, dude,
you're fired. Get out.
Well, that's all the questions we have for today. I had a lot of fun on here. I would love to maybe have you on again. Maybe even just chat and talk, just not even record. I had a lot of fun talking to you. I think this was the first conversation you and I have ever had, like outside of work.
I mean, we've been on Discord chats at the same time, but it's not like obviously like one-on-one chat.
Yeah. So this was, and even when I talked to Kira, that was the first time I'd ever had a one-on-one voice chat with her.
Really?
Yeah, and this is the first time I've ever spoken to you one-on-one outside of anything that has to do with work. So it was really nice to, get to know who you are. It was a pleasure speaking to you, and I had a lot of fun.
I had a lot of fun too. I was definitely like nervous at the beginning because I think I said it to you. I ramble a lot, and I was like, I need to make sure I keep the story cohesive. But I think once you start talking, it's easier to like flow a conversation. You're less worried about just rambling about random stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree. I did that. I do that on my videos sometimes. Sometimes my videos go longer than they should just because I can't shut up. So
Can't stop talking. It's fine.
yeah.
We all suffer with it.
But I am gonna let you go for now. I had a great time, and I hope that the viewers enjoyed this as well. And thank you all very much for watching. I'd like to thank Abby once again for being my guest, and I'd like to thank her boyfriend for doing so much, as he's a lot of the reason that Abby is able to do as well as she does on my channel. So be sure to thank him as well. And we hope to see more from the acting prowess of Abby very soon.
Yeah, thanks guys for obviously watching all of the videos and commenting. It's really nice to see that the interactions that you guys have. And I think this is going to be like a shameless plug for your Discord, but if you want to come talk to us more, you can obviously join the Discord.
That's one more thing I wanted to mention, actually. Keep in
There
mind,
you go.
keep in mind, Abby, Kira, both of them have been prolific and very important actors on my series, and I met them because they joined my Discord. So it could be you. You could be doing what they're doing right now. You could try out for one of my roles, get it, and you could be getting interviewed one day. And we could just be having a sit-down chat, and it could happen to any of you. Don't give up. Don't think that just because you don't like your voice doesn't mean other people won't. Always give it a try.
Because obviously it's like, and it's a lot of fun over there as well. It's definitely the place for like news, so you get announcements and like audition chances and stuff. But if you just want to have a good old chat, we're also good for that. And if you want any more content of the thing, there's fan art chats and conversations on the comment section, so you can chat about things over there. So come join us, come chat.
Should I like pay you for the promotion or something?
That's it. I did your outro. It's fine. It's always in the comments of every video.
Well, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to talk to you very soon.
That's all right. Thank you for having me.
All right.